Hey, what's up, homies? Happy Tuesday. Coming to you with a new video. Got a lot to talk about, guys. Actually, I'm going to make two videos. I'll post the Week 11 previews on a feed, so check that out. Be sure to click that on the homepage. I'm just going to talk about the Week 10 matchups here and the scoreboard on this video, but I'll be talking about the previews because there's so much to talk about, guys, that I just wanted to make two separate videos. 15 minutes is not long enough. So hopefully I look good enough for you today so you don't mind watching the videos. So I'm going to touch on a few things here like Jerry Sandusky, moving through this pretty quickly. So let's hop into those Week 10 matchups real quick. Take a look at the scoreboard. No close matchups this week, guys. Everything was kind of a blowout. Nothing was within 10 or 15 points of each other. I think every winning team scored over 100 points except me. But let's break it down and hop into these Week 10 matchups. So I took on Jobby this week, two 5-5 teams, as I got the victory 77-33. I mean, as Jobby, if I was Jobby, I'd be looking at this, could it be a rough week? He had 8 points from Michael Vick, a goose egg from Frank Gore, which he did go out with an injury, so it's not like, Frank Gore sucks now. Fred Jackson only had 9 against a Dallas defense that did allow a ton of yards to a lot of running backs this year. So Jobby only getting 33 points. That's got to be kind of a red flag, for a team heading into the playoffs. 77 isn't exactly an ideal total, especially with everybody else around the league scoring a ton of points. I know it's a win. Every win's important, but still, if you want to win in the playoffs, you got to score points. I got 25 from Tom Brady, 15 from LaShawn McCoy, 9 from A.J. Green, and that's about all she wrote for me. I did have a couple guys on the bench, but like I said, just shitty scoring outputs from either team. But like I said, win's a win for me. It's 3 in a row, and I'm now 5-5, tied for second in the NFC. Jobby's lost 2 in a row. He's now 5-5, tied for second in the NFC. If you guys didn't check out this NFC, take a look. 3 teams, 5-5, right now tied for second place. First place is just a win away from them with 6-4. And Ashley, even sitting in last place in the division, is only 4-6. So really, guys, this division is literally up for grabs. Throw up the 2 seeds and 5 teams grab for it. It's really that close. So let's jump into the fiance matchup. Megatron's Army versus Kiss My Ash. This was actually a closer game than what I had thought at the beginning. Ashley looked like it was going to be a blowout, but then Larry Fitzgerald turned it on. Packers defense got her some points, but it wasn't enough. Definitely missing out on Adrian Peterson this week with, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis putting up a goose egg against the Jets. She got 11 from Cam Newton, 11 from Ray Rice. Steve Smith, kind of a disappointing week against Tennessee, only had 3 points, but Larry Fitzgerald came up in a big way with 26 against Philly. A lot of good corners there and still put up 26, so Fitzgerald looks like he's going to be turning it on. Looking at Brock, I really wanted to talk about this, is just how solid his team is up and down. When you can interchange quarterbacks to the matchup, you're going to win fantasy championships, and not too many guys can do this year. I remember I only did it one time, I think, in like 5 years of playing fantasy football. I had Drew Brees and Tom Brady on the same team. Ashley would be in a similar situation with Cam Newton and Phillip Rivers if Phillip Rivers was more consistent. But anyway, hopping back over to Brock's team, Chris Johnson, 23 points, came out in a big way, finally had his big game that everybody was hoping for. Can he keep on it? I know Carolina's a shit run defense, so, could be, a little mixed bag there for Chris Johnson, but looks like he's going to be just fine. Looking at Brock's team, though, like I said, Calvin Johnson and Mike Wallace combined for 14 points. I mean, that's usually one of them gets 14. But contributions from everybody. Tony Romo came in and got 22 as he sat Matt Stafford, who got tore apart by the Bears defense. Bears picked him 4 times. His running back, Cedric Benson, against Pittsburgh, tough call there. Really, he didn't have any good running back matchups. But like I said, still scored 104 to Ashley's 88. Got the victory. He's now 10-0. Guy's going to be a lock for the playoffs. I would say a lock for the championship just with the way his team scores week in and week out. and the matchups that he, can interchange with a lot of his players. Obviously everybody should be picking him as his favorite. They're 10-0, but as me and Brock know, last year both of us were like 13-3, or with a 15 week, we were 12-3, and we both got knocked out in the first round. So guys, win totals during the season doesn't matter. It'll help with the seeding, but it all comes down to, if you make playoffs, can you score the points? Obviously we've seen him score points in the season, but we'll see if he can do it in the playoffs. Another huge matchup in the week 10 that kind of helped the playoffs shape out is Autobot Revolution versus Bolingbrook Blue Ballers. Both teams are 5-5 now. Both tied. Shut up. Both tied for second in their division. As Aaron moves to 5-5, John falls to 5-5. Aaron scored 127 and John's 87 in this one. Aaron's team is up here, they're down here. They're up here, they're down here. And when you catch him on a hot week, no one's going to beat this guy. He gets 28 from Aaron Rodgers, 12 from Matt Forte, double digits from a couple guys. And then you look at the Bears defense, 2 return touchdowns, 4 picks, I think 2 fumble recoveries. They had 34 points. I know you can't rely on a fantasy defense, but if you can get point totals like that while getting solid scoring from the rest of your team, you're going to win if you can get turnovers like that from a defense. And everybody knows the Bears defense is very opportunistic. They take advantage of their turnovers, and they do damage when they get the turnovers. I think a big hit for Aaron's team, which this is kind of some underlying, is Matt Schaub's out for the year. So you have Matt Leinart throwing the ball to Andre Johnson, which everybody knows Matt Leinart's a terrible pro quarterback. So I don't know how that's going to go down with Aaron's team. Could have an impact. But he's gone this long without Andre Johnson anyway, so his team probably will be okay. But like I said, Aaron's team's scary at 5-5 now, scoring a lot of points. He's won 2 in a row. John had solid outputs. He got 20 from Matt Ryan, 10 from Turner, 18 from Mendenhall, 16, surprisingly, from Reggie Bush, who had 2 touchdowns in that one. But if you look, John's top 2 receivers had a combined 1 point. I think John said it best, "White as God hates Stevie Johnson." That's because Stevie Johnson plays for the Bills. But going forward, John really doesn't have a receiver to throw in there. Maybe Julio Jones if he can stay healthy. He's got Ahmad Bradshaw sitting out with the injury still, so John's team's still going to be okay. John's got Eric right next to him in the division in the AFC, which Eric's team looks crazy good, which I'm going to hop right into that matchup. You look at Eric's team here, Foster Care taking on Sandusky's Boy Toys. Eric improved to 5-5. Nico dropped to 2-8. Just a hard luck season for Nico. He just can't get the ball rolling with some of the guys. A lot of guys having down years. Looking at Mike Williams. Darren Sproul's a surprise for him. Like I said, Nico's pretty unlucky at the beginning of the year, and now it's just, he's not getting any love. No Sean Moreno now out for the year. He's been bitten by the injury bug quite a bit. Nico's team, he sat Drew Brees, maybe trying to see what Christian Ponder's got, and he's not the answer. So get Drew Brees back in there, play spoiler for somebody, it'll have an effect on the playoffs. Looking at Eric's team, though, it's crazy to think about Eric's team. He gets 30 from Arian Foster, he gets 22 from DeMarco Murray, solid from Jennings and Antonio Brown, 17 combined points. Jimmy Graham, number 1 fantasy tight end, gets 14, and Matt Schaub at 17. Matt Schaub's now out for the year. Houston's on the bye next week, so they got some time to sort out quarterback. It looks like it's going to be Matt Leinart, but Eric benched Michael Bush, who had 29 points. Guys, Eric could have damn near scored 150. Now, granted, is he going to score it every week? No. But could he score over 100 every week? Looks like it. And if you could score over 100 every week, you give yourself a pretty damn good chance to win. So Eric, looking pretty good. Looks like a favorite to get that number 2 seed, unless John has something to say about it. Eric's team is just scoring a lot of points right now. So like I said, 5-5. He's tied for that second spot in the AFC. So let's see if his team can stay healthy and maybe make a push for that playoff spot. Going on to the last matchup of the week here, we got Team USA, Titletown USA versus Team Badasses. Mike, scoring another big output for him, 121 to Jared's 69. Looking at Jared's team, he got 16 from Eli Manning, 12 from Ben Tate, and 17 from the Texans defense, and that's about it, guys. He sat Jordy Nelson, who had 18, could have started over Jeremy Maclin, but I mean, he wasn't going to win this game, guys. Jared's had a tough year. He's still trying to stay in there. He's still picking up guys. You know, probably a little, you know, too late now to really make an impact, but he can always play spoiler the rest of the way. You know, maybe you never know. I mean, like I said, he could knock out a team from the playoffs, you know, with getting a victory. So, Jared, I do appreciate you, you know, putting time into your team and having Joe help you out. Because, I mean, like I said, I love you guys in the league. You're awesome. So hang in there. Looking at Mike's team, though, you know, his running backs were just nasty this week. He got 12 from Steven Jackson, 21 from Marshawn Lynch, subbing in for Darren McFadden, and 19 from Reese Jones-Drew, 23 from Gronkowski, who we still laugh about, guys, but he is the number 2 tight end this year, so hard to argue that. Got 15 from his kicker, Dan Bailey, and he sat the Cowboys defense, who had 20, so you had 17 points to that. Mike could have had 138, but he's not bitching with 121. Mike is now 6-4 in sole possession of the first place, or the first seed in the NFC. So look for Mike, if he continues to get this kind of output from his running backs. I mean, look for him to be the number 1 seed the rest of the way in the NFC with the way that division's going. So like I said, guys, the NFC is so tight in terms of all 5 teams have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs in the NFC. Looking at the AFC, it's really 2 teams right now battling out for that 2nd seed. You look at Brock. Brock's got 10-0. Obviously, he's going to be number 1 seed. But Eric and John will be the battle to watch in the AFC in terms of, you know, who's going to make the playoffs. Honestly, right now, if I had to make a prediction, I would say it's going to be Eric based on the way his team scores and the way his running backs are getting hot right now, especially with Arian Foster turning it on and DeMarco Murray just being like a ridiculous rookie. You know, like I said, Houston's on the bye this week, which thank God, play Eric. You know, looking at the NFC, I got to imagine Mike's going to be in there. He's not going to lose 2 or 3 games in a row. He will make the playoffs as a 1 or 2 seed, and he can score a ton of points. I honestly think it's probably between me or Aaron at this point. You know, Jabby had an off week last week. We know his team scored over 100 points before. I think Jabby's legit in contention. Ashley's team, you know, she really needs Steve Smith to pick it up, really needs Ray Rice to have a good matchup, and Cam Newton really has to keep playing at that high level, because if he can't, I mean, Ashley, you know, might have trouble making the playoffs. Like I said, she's only a game back, guys. I mean, literally, she wins 2 in a row. I dropped 2 in a row. She's in the playoffs. So, guys, this division's literally up for grabs. It's been so fun to watch. 3 weeks left. We got week 11, 12, and 13, and then playoffs are week 14 and 15. Season's done, guys. So, hope you guys have had fun. I know I'm getting low on time already, and I've just talked about week 10 matchups. So, hopefully you guys don't get tired of hearing me talk. If you got any questions, make a post, but I'm now going to post a video for the week 11 preview because the matchups are so crazy. I want to get in depth with them. So make sure you vote on everyone's matchup because it's so tight. You know, I want everybody to have a good time with this and want them to show that the matchups count. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to post that video. So why don't you click over there and watch that and hear me talk for another 15 minutes. I'm sure that's exactly what you want to do today. All right, later, guys.